Don't put too much bend on that post. Let him go like this. Bring your lines in, boys.
The sea's most feared predators could be good news for fishermen. We've got the story tonight, live at 5.
Now, from the ATV News Center at every city and town in the Maritimes, this is the ATV Evening News, live at 5.
Good evening and welcome to Live at 5 for Monday, September 5th. I'm Nancy Regan.
And I'm Paul Mennier. Here's a look at some of the stories ATV reporters around the region are working on for tonight's show.
I'm Kate Letterick at the University of New Brunswick in Fredericton, where it's Frosh Week. It's a time for fun, but also serious lessons. I'll have that story coming up on Live at 5!
I'm Dan McIntosh in Linesbrook, Pictou County with Benjamin, Angela, and Zachary. And if you think the first ever day of school is something to be excited about, imagine what it's like for the Martin triplets. We'll visit the family later on Live at 5.
And along with our maritime milestones, we'll take you to one of the strangest weddings of the year, supervised by none other than Father Guido Sarducci.
And also ahead, it's fast, it's fearless, and it's always fun. We've got a heaping serving of the plays of the weekend later.
All this and much more ahead on the Monday edition of Live at 5. Right now, here's Steve Murphy working on the ATV Evening News at 6.
Yeah, and the weather's the news tonight, Nancy. We've got some heavy-duty weather going on outside today. Just take a look at these pictures. Tourists had to brave some of that wet weather to catch a glimpse of some spectacular waves in Peggy's Cove and elsewhere around the Maritimes today. Wind warnings have been issued right across the region. We'll tell you what happened as Maritimers batten down the hatches tonight at 6. There are some mixed emotions for union supporters in the Maritimes on this Labor Day. It's been 100 years since the first labor holiday, but wage freezes and other setbacks have some people wondering out loud about the future of organized labor. We take a look tonight. And also coming up, a new maritime mega mall project is in the works, and not everybody's happy about it. This planned mall is running into objections from an unexpected source. We'll tell you who's trying to have the project scuttled tonight at 6 o'clock. But right now, more on the weather. Here is meteorologist Steve Weigel outside in it, right, Steve?
That's right, Steve. She's blowing a gale out here, in fact. We've got wind warnings in effect for most areas of the Maritimes, including all of Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and the southern areas of New Brunswick overnight, and a lot of wet weather ahead for us tonight and tomorrow. I'll give you all the details later in the show. Steve.
All right, Weigel's wet weather for you at 5:30, and then at 6 o'clock, well, you know this sound. Yes, that sound and that sight is as famous in Ottawa as, well, some of the politicians. But if you're planning a trip to the nation's capital and are hoping, like so many, to see and hear the Peace Tower, then you'd better do it soon. We'll tell you why tonight on the ATV Evening News at 6. Right now, back to Live at 5, and here again are Paul and Nancy.
Thank you, Steve.
And first at 5 tonight, a booming business. As this, the last long weekend of summer, rapidly draws to a close, Maritimers in the tourism business are looking back at the last few months with wide smiles.
That's right, Paul. Across the region, businesses and attractions have experienced a spectacular tourism season. We're going to check in with a number of ATV reporters in different parts of the region.
First up, here's ATV's Jonathan Kay on mainland Nova Scotia. And Jonathan, I understand you spent the day on the province's South Shore.
That's right, and despite a little bit of rain, those tour buses continue to roll in even today. Some people are calling it a record year.
I think it has been an absolutely excellent summer. It's one of the best we've had in years.
Staff at the Nova Scotia Fisheries Museum have been busy. More than 1,000 people toured the museum yesterday alone. Tourists are coming in record numbers. While the weather's been good, Ruby Wynot says the boom also has a lot to do with good marketing of the region as a tourism destination.
I mean, they've worked extremely hard, and they've worked on the American market, and we have had a lot of American people, no doubt about it.
A favorable exchange rate helps entice Americans north of the border, too. And it doesn't just influence Americans. Canadians are spending their money at home.
I think we had a lot of people from Ontario and Quebec, and we had a lot of people just from Halifax or just New Brunswick or PEI, just around the area, that came for the day, or they came for a couple of days. They had a mini holiday, in other words. But we had a lot of people from Ontario.
Yeah, 2 days ago, yeah.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
These visitors from Ontario say the exchange rate was one of the prime reasons they decided to tour the Maritimes instead of New England.
Well, when it's about 30–40% exchange rate difference, it makes a big difference to be able to spend your time in a bed and breakfast in Nova Scotia versus in the States and get half the place.
The other trend, for whatever reason, is right here in the Maritimes. Maritimers, for whatever reason, don't seem to be taking those big weeks-long vacations this summer. Instead, they're taking what you heard called mini vacations, you know, hopping out for a few days at a time, but staying within the Maritimes.
So now, Jonathan, I guess the question is, what will tourism operators have to do to ensure that they have a big booming season next year as well?
Well, that's right. And before we even get to next year, there are the shoulder seasons as well. We have a big fall season that shows a lot of potential right now. What's happening with a lot of tourist operators is they're full up at the peak of summer. More tourists aren't going to help them because they simply wouldn't have room to accommodate them. So what they're doing instead is extending their seasons into mid-October, even November, because as you know, autumn in the Maritimes is a fantastic time of year with all of the fall colors. Now we just have to encourage people to come and enjoy the Maritimes at that time of year as well.
Yeah, you raise a good point there, Jonathan. Tourism in the autumn is certainly something to be reckoned with in the Maritimes. And in just a moment, we're going to go to one of the hot spots where that is very much the case. Right now, it's off to New Brunswick. Nance?
That's right, Paul. And in New Brunswick, some people in the tourism industry say this summer's been the best season in 2 decades. More people visited the picture province and seem to be staying longer, too. Our Mike Cameron's standing by in St. John to tell us more about it. Mike.
Nancy, a couple of people I spoke with today called this a recovery year for the tourism industry. This comes after a couple of consecutive years of struggling. For a number of reasons, the tourists have come back to the Maritimes and in better numbers than ever expected.
Even in a driving rain, Ed and Velma Walkup are enjoying the reversing falls and the weather.
And we've loved it, and it's cool weather.
Is that important?
Absolutely. When we left, it was 86 degrees, so yes, it was very important to be here.
Are people treating you well? I mean,
very well.
Wonderful.
Are they?
Very well.
It's great.
Very well. Not only that, it's clean. Canada's here, it appears to be real clean.
Others are here because of a word-of-mouth recommendation.
Some friends of ours from Burlington that had been up here, in fact, they went all the way to Prince Edward Island, and they came through here. They had told us to stop here.
Just watch for where you get off, and that's where you'll get back on it. Okay.
More people have stopped here this year. Though figures aren't in, some say it may have been a record year, the one the industry has waited for. Willa Mavis runs the Inn in the Cove in West St. John.
Much better. In the month of August, we only had 3 nights that we didn't have 100% occupancy. We turned away 120 people in July and August.
Mavis says the industry is now being professionally managed and more effectively promoted. The province of New Brunswick targeted its advertising in central Canada and New England.
And I would imagine that a lot of the Quebecers that we had this year normally would go to Old Orchard Beach.
And the World Acadian Congress filled hotels throughout southeastern New Brunswick for 2 weeks. Hotels on Prince Edward Island are also reporting significantly more visitors this year, particularly from central Canada and from Japan.
And more importantly, everyone is confident that the visitors who came here this year are going home with a good feeling for the Maritimes.
Eva and Ann Buchter have traveled here from Germany.
In Germany, it's different. You know, people are not very friendly towards tourists and other people. But here, you always have the feeling you come home.
Yeah, and we will be back again. But
And everyone we spoke with today was very positive about the coming fall. The fall season, as we've spoken of before, becoming very important to the tourism industry. It tends to bring in more retired visitors, perhaps with more disposable income than with the younger families we see during the summer.
Looking ahead to next summer, Mike, what's on tap for next year in New Brunswick? Anything sure to bring back the tourists?
There isn't anything huge on the books for next year in New Brunswick, nothing like the World Acadian Congress or the International Gathering of the Irish that we had a few years ago. But nevertheless, everyone seems pretty positive it's going to be a strong year next year. In fact, some establishments were telling us today that the bookings for next year are already pretty strong, so that bodes well.
Wow, lots of good news there.
Yes.
Thanks, Mike. Paul?
All right, well, Nance, we've taken a look at New Brunswick, mainland Nova Scotia, and PEI. Time to move up the highway to Cape Breton, where by all accounts it has been a banner season for everyone involved in tourism. And things have been especially good along one of the Maritime's most popular roadways. Just back from the Cabot Trail is ATV's Randy McDonald, who joins us live from Sydney. Randy?
Paul, it has to be encouraging when virtually everyone connected to the tourism business is saying the same thing, that they haven't had a year like this in a long, long time. That has to be good news in an area where jobs have been hard to come by.
Hi, how are you today? Welcome to Seagull. Special of the day is fish and chips, fresh caught. It's been fantastic. There's been days that there's been people waiting at the doorway waiting for clean tables. Yesterday was a fantastic day. We started out slow for breakfast, but as the day went on, it was just really good summer overall.
July and August are pretty well all full nights. June was a bit slow.
But no vacancy at all from night to night to night?
Very few, you know. A couple in August, and the first 2 weeks of July are a little slow, but then after that there, it was all full nights.
The IJ's had a good season this year. Lots of people around, nice hot weather, good American exchange rate. There's been quite a few people around.
Best year ever for you guys?
One of the best, yeah, one of the best.
The weather has been good, for one thing, and plus Canadian dollar is a second big factor. And thirdly, I think Canadians get tired of going across the border, so they spend their money at home.
The fall is also becoming an important tourism season along the Cabot Trail. Resorts like the Celtic Lodge are poised to cash in on lovers of fall colors.
Looking for a very strong fall, actually. Reservations on the books are very good, very good. Lots of motor coach tours coming through for the fall foliage.
That's it. Nice cut.
We've had a very good summer, actually. Good increases over volume over 1993. American traffic seems to be up considerably over previous years, and the high exchange rate certainly has a big impact on that.
Makes even the Celtic Lodge affordable.
That's right, absolutely, yes. We've had, of course, a great summer weather-wise as well, and that keeps people on the trail a little bit longer than they ordinarily would have stayed around, I think.
And what of next year along the Cabot Trail? Well, based on this season, you can be well assured that there's going to be more craft shops and more whale tours along the way. Paul?
Well, Randy, you know, how about the trail now? Is it kind of quieted down? I know that, I don't know if the tourism numbers translate this, but the most spectacular time, no doubt, is fall, right?
Yes, it is, but even today, on a blustery, windy, rainy afternoon, there was lots of traffic on the Cabot Trail, and there's a little Englishtown ferry you have to cross if you're going to take a shortcut. There were 50 cars lined up there when we were coming back, and we had to sit and cool our heels with the rest of the visitors, but we got back in time.
All right. Good stuff, Randy. Thanks.
Okay.
And you know what we're hearing from our reporters is that obviously it's been a terrific year, but more significantly, perhaps, is that because it's been a significant year, you think that there'll be a lot of word of mouth that might, you know, even if the dollar comes up a little bit, that could result in some big numbers next year. So we'll have to wait until that comes around.
All right, of course, the end of the summer tourism season also has other significance. We're on the back-to-school beat in just a moment with a family full of first-timers.
Hold it a little while. Do you want to help bring the dishes out? Denny.
We'll meet these triplets in transit when Live at 5 returns.
As it goes around, we hit the pivot, it sends it around, it sweeps up and down, and it makes the seats spin around.
Welcome back to Live at 5. That's Bill Harris talking about the Spider, one of the many rides at the Fredericton exhibition, which runs all this week in the capital city. The rainy weather has dampened the spirits of some of the carnival goers on this holiday Monday, but officials are hoping for bigger crowds when the weather brightens up, and we're hoping that's going to be soon. It is that time of year again for anyone who lives in a university town. The students are coming. Yes, it's orientation week, and a lot of maritime students are moving away from home for the first time, too. It's a lot of fun, but there's also a serious side to it. ATV's Kate Lettrick joins us now from Fredericton with more on Frosh Week. Kate.
Well, Nancy, there's no doubt about it. Orientation week is a great time, and it gives students a chance to go out and meet people who in many cases will be their friends for life. But there is a hazardous side to campus life, and orientation officials want to make sure the kids are ready to handle their newfound freedom.
Hi, welcome to UMB. This is Frosh Week. It's going to be great.
It's orientation week at the University of New Brunswick, and students are moving in and getting ready to do some serious socializing. But things are a little different this year.
Orientation has changed over the years, and it seems to be a more mature outlook, not the Animal House style orientation. So it's a lot of fun. Students still have a lot of fun, but it's safer.
Throughout the week, we have meetings on date rape, campus safety. We have like kind of assemblies on responsible drinking. We have a safe ride home program every night.
Okay, the idea is you get a fresh shirt. What color shirt do you like? Yellow, purple, or orange? Orange. Yellow. Orange. Much better. Orange. Orange is ugly.
And the attitude is the same over at St. Thomas University. Frosh Week would be a pre-education education?
It can be, yeah. We try, I mean, we're here to have some fun, get everybody to meet each other, but we're trying to teach them a little about how to survive out here.
And of course, Orientation Week isn't all serious business. It's also a time to have a whole lot of fun.
Wild, I guess, for the first bit, and then you just gotta calm down, I guess. Start studying. Your talk.
Everyone thinks it's just one big beer drink. Well, it's just a little beer drink, I think.
You want to have fun and get out responsibly.
Yeah, have fun, but you got to learn how to have fun responsibly.
There's boys right there, see?
There's our boys. Come on, boys. Come on,
Get in there, boys. Get in there, boys. Come on.
Put all that stuff in the room, boys.
And speaking of rooms, things can get pretty hairy in the dorms.
Yep. Now, is it going to get worse? Yep. It'll get worse. My room's like this pretty much all year.
But it's all worth it.
Yeah.
I have a lot of fun. There's a lot of people here you haven't seen before. They're going to be the friends for the rest of your life, so.
Now, the kids up at UNB and St. Thomas are gearing up for a great week. They've got all kinds of activities planned for the whole week, and it sounds like a whole lot of fun. Nancy?
It looks like a whole lot of fun, Kate. I don't know about you. It brings back memories for me.
It sure does.
But you're right. You know, these students are confronted with a lot of serious issues as well these days.
Well, that's right. Times have really changed. These kids have to deal with everything from AIDS to campus safety. And orientation officials say they don't want to make it a week full of lectures, but they want to make sure that the kids have the information so that they can stay safe.
All right. Thanks a lot, Kate.
Thanks.
I guess the message is have fun, but do it safely. Paul.
All right, Nancy, we're going to turn back the hands of time now to the first day of school, and whether you call it kindergarten or grade primary, it's an emotional day for youngsters and parents. Well, there's 3 times that emotion at the Martin home in Lyons Brook, Pictou County, where 5-year-olds Angela, Benjamin, and Zachary can't wait for tomorrow. But as we hear from Dan McIntosh, Mom wants to hold on to her 3 babies just one more day.
You want milk? Milk or juice? Would you like milk or juice?
We're not usually so organized as you see us today. It's usually hectic. Usually they're asking for 3 different meals, but we all have to agree on what we're going to have, and we don't usually take enough time to plan it, I suppose. It's difficult to be organized.
That's been the story here at the Martin home since the triplets were born in June of 1989.
This is Zachary. He was 3rd born from the triplets, and he likes a lot about reading. He likes to do his books a lot, and he's really happy to go to school tomorrow. Yeah. And this is our only daughter, Ange. She has 5 brothers, and she's very special to them all. Ben is, I suppose, he's quiet because he's thinking of what to do next, and it's usually in the lines of mischief.
Woman cried, "We must find someone who can beat the giant, young men." Why?
After lunch, getting 3 5-year-olds to settle down for a story takes a special knack. But it's also the best time to try to talk to 3 very excited siblings about the first day of school tomorrow.
Do homework.
You're looking forward to homework?
Well, you have to play games.
And what else? Meet friends, maybe, or?
Yeah.
Is it better than lunch? You're going to stop sucking your thumb at school, though, aren't you?
Put soap on it.
I guess the past 5 years of my life has been focused on planning things for them and not myself. I'm going to have to learn how to do other things, put myself first maybe, and other things besides the kids.
Frances says the days of building blanket cabins will soon be over, and she has mixed feelings as she sends her little ones off to school tomorrow.
I've just centered all my attention on planning my day for them, and I'm going to have to retrain myself, and maybe that's what's overwhelming.
In Linesbrook, Dan McIntosh, ATV News.
Well, you got me. I'll vote for a Mrs. Martin Day anytime.
I guess there's a lot of maritime parents out there feeling those feelings right now.
Yeah, indeed. Still ahead tonight, our Live at 5 shark fishing expedition. And Yvonne Colbert on your side.
But up next, what do you get when you mix commitment with comedy?
If there's anyone who knows any reason why Dan and Angie should not be joined in the bond of holy matrimony, stop the wedding.
We'll check out this outrageous wedding ceremony when Live at 5 returns. Welcome back to Live at 5. There's a recognizable face. Comedian Jerry Lewis's 29th annual Labor Day telethon kicked off last night in Las Vegas. The 21.5-hour fundraiser, benefits the Muscular Dystrophy Association. The Canadian portion of the show is being broadcast live from Toronto. Among the guests in Canada, MD spokesperson Kurt Browning. Last year's telethon raised more than $46 million in public pledges for research and treatment of neuromuscular diseases.
Good stuff. And we're going to check in on our marriage milestones in just a moment. But before that, we want to go out to the West Coast, which, as you know, is sometimes referred to as the left coast.
And this wedding left them laughing.
His Holiness, His Highness.
Remember Father Guido Sarducci from the television show Saturday Night Live? He made people laugh with his irreverent routines. Now he's performing weddings. It's no joke, it's for real.
I'll never forget the day, the first time they come up to me, they says, Father, we want you to marry us. I says, I can't get married, I'm a priest.
Today he's marrying Angie Bolton and Dan Schmidt. Bumbershoot organizers selected this couple from hundreds who wanted to be married by Father Sarducci. A mistake, you be the judge.
To witness this woman, Angie Bolton, and this man, Dan Schmidt himself, do the ring thing.
The ceremony went without a hitch until this moment.
If there's anyone who knows any reason why Dan and Angie should not be joined in the bond of holy matrimony, let him speak up now or forever hold their breath. Stop the wedding. You just married her.
After that near disaster was resolved, it was time.
I pronounce you from this moment on, a wife and a husband, and now you may kiss. Oh, no!
Even at weddings, Father Guido Sarducci steals the show. Not this wedding. The good father couldn't take center stage, no matter how hard he tried.
Does that remind you of your wedding?
Not a bit.
Me neither.
A little bit out there, Nance.
A little bit.
TV wedding, I'd say. One made for TV. Anyway.
Well, it's a labor of love today for these folks who are celebrating weddings from days gone by. We start off with George and Melita LaRue, who marked their 50th anniversary yesterday. They have 10 children, 18 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren who celebrated with them Friday evening at the Cole Harbour Fire Department. And Robert and Violet Arnold of Fredericton reached their 50th anniversary milestone on Sunday. They have 4 children, 6 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild who send much love on this special day. Bertram and Rhoda Webb of Tracy, New Brunswick celebrated their 65th anniversary Sunday. Congratulations from their 4 children, 17 grandchildren, and 31 great-grandchildren.
Today it's golden wishes for Euclid and Loudy Robichaud of St. Louis to Kent. These greetings come from their 5 children and 7 grandchildren. And this is Mabel Porter of Springdale, Digby County. Today is her 100th birthday. Congratulations, Mabel. She has many friends and family wishing her good fortune today, including 5 children, 13 grandchildren, 13 great-grandchildren, and 7 great-great-grandchildren. Congratulations to all of our milestone celebrants, and if you're engaged in a labor of love today, all the best from all of us here at ATV News.
Lots more to come in the second half of Live at 5 tonight, including meteorologist Steve Weigel with the complete and completely soggy maritime weather picture.
Also got the plays of the weekend coming up, and Yvonne Colbert is on your side. What's coming up, Yvonne?
Paul, we're dipping into the On Your Side mailbag tonight with a story about stone washing. And we have the solution, kind of a humorous one, to a mailbag story from last week.
And also ahead, Live at 5 takes to the high seas for an aquatic adventure. We're searching for shark when Live at 5 continues.
The fun's just begun.
Come on, Don, come on! Put your back into it! You're tired!
Welcome back to Live at 5. A little deceiving from the live eye. It looks calm out there, but the wind is blowing, and I guess it will continue to do so for just a little bit longer, right?
The whole region is pretty soggy tonight. An appropriate way to end the summer, don't you think?
Absolutely. Here's Steve Weagle with all the details. Steve?
Thanks, guys. Yes, it is soggy and windy out there tonight. We've got a classic nor'easter pushing up the coast. In fact, the strongest wind reported so far is in Back Row Point in just around the Yarmouth area, Nova Scotia. They recorded 66 knots, which is about 120 kilometers an hour. And that's the sort of winds we're expecting the next few hours. Very strong winds, up around 100 kilometers an hour for most areas, except the Cape Breton Highlands, the western side, which are expecting up to 140 kilometer an hour gusts before the night is through. Here's the latest jet stream. We've got a big kink right over the Maritimes, and that is because of this nor'easter, which is bringing a lot of cold air back behind the low and pushing up to the northeast. In fact, by later tomorrow, it looks like it'll be in the Gulf of St. Lawrence, but we're still expecting quite a bit of rain out of this system. A few showers tomorrow and a lot of wind. Here it is on the close-up, and a lot of precipitation extending right out to the ocean and back through Quebec in the northeast. And you can see a little bit of clearing in behind that as cool, drier air gets sucked up in behind the low with this big counterclockwise motion of this. In fact, you can see it right now as we put the satellite loop into motion, how this thing is turning counterclockwise in the last 24 hours and moving up into the Gulf of St. Lawrence by tomorrow afternoon, but we're still expecting a lot of wind gusts out of this. By tomorrow morning, here's what we have. The low will be centered just off the coast with the cold front out to off the coast. A lot of periods of rain in the morning, still gusty in the morning, and as the day wears on, the low starts to push into the Gulf of St. Lawrence, move out of our region, but in behind that, still a few showers expected by tomorrow night, still windy. A little bit of clearing in behind that, and that will be Thursday and Friday's weather with a bit of sunshine and cooler temperatures expected overnight. Here we go. Wind warnings for all of Nova Scotia, the southern areas of New Brunswick, not including Fredericton, but St. John, Moncton, and Sussex all included in this zone, and all of Prince Edward Island. And look at the wind gusts in the Cape Breton Highlands, up to 140 kilometers an hour expected overnight. Gusts of 80 to 100 kilometers expected everywhere else. We're looking at 8 to 10 degrees in New Brunswick, 11 for Prince Edward Island, and 12 degrees for an overnight low in Nova Scotia during the night. Tomorrow, the rain continues. Out of this, we're expecting 20 to 40 millimeters of rain for most areas. Rain tapers to showers during the day, 15 to 16 degrees in New Brunswick, 16 for Prince Edward Island, and 17 right across Nova Scotia. And look at this, the winds taper off. We're looking at winds later in the day at about 30 kilometers now from the east in Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island, and from the northeast at 30 for New Brunswick during the day tomorrow. And for the outlook, well, an improvement. By Wednesday, just cloudy skies and 18 degrees, and warming up as the sunshine moves in for Thursday and Friday. We'll see clearing on Thursday and 19, mix of sun and cloud for Friday, so it looks pretty good heading into the weekend, and hopefully the weekend weather will be very nice across the Maritimes. So overnight, wet and windy, and tomorrow we'll see the showers and the wind taper off during the day. So watch it when you're driving out there. Very dangerous driving conditions tonight. Paul and Nancy.
Thanks, Steve.
Well, you'll likely never see one at your favorite beach unless it's been hauled in by a deep-sea fisherman, but there's plenty of shark in our maritime waters.
And because both commercial and sport fishermen are taking a great interest in shark, the Department of Fisheries and Oceans is trying to gather a little more information about these fish.
DFO is looking for volunteers to tag shark. Some organizations like the Nova Scotia Saltwater Fishery and Charter Boat Association are already on board with the program. Now, in just a moment, we're going to give you a phone number you can call if you want more information.
But first, let's go to sea. Our Kevin McDonald joined a shark tagging journey and shot these pictures for us.
To the other guys after you hit 1 hour, cut the line. Okay. Yeah. Okay, he says. I know it would have been. Jesus, there were big fish.
Not good posture, no. Posture's not a big issue right now.
Hold it tight.
Yes! Yes!
a couple more guys wore out before the day's over. I'm exhausted. Can't even move my arms. 10 feet. 8 7/8 inches. Yes! Woo! It's a blue shark. It's a male. I don't have the knowledge to tell you how old it is. A wild guess would go in 10 to 12 years, maybe a little more. Come on, Don, come on! Get with the back into it! You're tired! Hold him there. You got him? Aye. 1, 2, 3, go. Whoa. Good shot. Yeah, it feels good when you give the people what they want.
I know we put that roof rack on your car for a reason, Steamer.
Okay.
What do you want me to do? Back up? Hold him up, Scotty.
First shark. That won't be the last.
Hold him up.
Yep.
Excellent.
All right.
Yeah, wonderful.
Excellent. Man, Doug. Good one.
Wow, those look like pretty strong little guys, don't
Yeah,
they?
quite a day for those sports fishermen from Shediac who went
Exciting.
along on the ride, but I think the most important work there was the tagging that we saw. You saw them with the harpoon device putting the tag in the shark to be retrieved when it's hauled in again, and that information, of course, will be very valuable to DFO people. We get a phone number here if you're interested in getting involved in the tagging operation. Contact Peter Hurley at the Department of Fisheries and Oceans at 902-426-3520. We're going to leave that number up for just a moment, but I was talking to somebody, Nance, in the fisheries business today who has been talking to the federal government and provincial counterparts of the Federal Fisheries Office about a viable shark fishery for the Maritimes. You know, a 100-pound blue shark can pull in up to $1,200. There is quite a shark fishery underway in Japan. This guy, his estimates are that there could be up to 20,000 jobs in the Maritimes if we go ahead with a shark fishery. So that important tagging, obviously, you know, they need that information.
And I'm sure it comes as a surprise to a lot of Maritimers that there are so many shark out there.
Yeah, they figure about 5,000 along the coast of blue shark and then a smaller number of a variety of others. But they're the biggest big fish in our North Atlantic waters.
Oh, watch that. Straight ahead on Live at 5 tonight, Yvonne Colbert is on your side. It's a Mailbag Monday when Live at 5 returns.
The band played on in the pouring rain as HMCS Fredericton pulled into St. John this morning. The Fredericton is ship number 8 in the 12-ship frigate program. This Saturday, it'll be the newest addition to the fleet when the ship is commissioned into the Navy. The Fredericton will be open to the public at various times throughout the week for anyone who wants to go aboard and take a look around. Right now, it's time to check in with Steve Murphy, who's working on the ATV Evening News at 6.
Right, well, Paul, and the weather is, in fact, the story across the Maritimes as we deal with an early fall storm like this. Lots of waves at Peggy's Cove for tourists who wanted to brave the driving rain to catch a glimpse of some of those breakers. There was plenty of this sort of thing right across the region this afternoon. We'll show you tonight at 6 o'clock, along with this story. Striking in the rain. You know, Labor Day is a traditional time when organized labor groups take stock of their situation. Well, this year there are mixed emotions for union supporters. Some say it's among the darkest times in their history. We'll explain why and also look at what's being done about it tonight at 6 o'clock. And you know, it's a crowded world, 5.7 billion people on this planet, and it's getting more crowded by the minute. A conference is underway now looking at ways to grapple with the population explosion being held in a country that has a population problem of its own. We'll get more on that tonight on the ATV Evening News at 6 o'clock. But right now, it's back to Live at 5 on your side.
Thank you, Steve. And tonight on your side, it's a Mailbag Monday. Here's Yvonne. With
Time to dip into the old mailbag, Nancy. I'm finally getting through all the mail I received on vacation. And our first letter tonight deals with this little thing. It's a rock, which I'm going to give you for safekeeping.
Right.
And the letter comes from Elgin, New Brunswick, and it reads, Dear Yvonne, this letter is partly a problem, but mostly a warning to all your viewers. I bought a pair of Bimini jeans for my 8-month-old grandson. After he'd worn them several times, his mother noticed something hard in one of the pockets. When she checked, she found this stone in it. Can you tell us what it is? Also, would you warn companies to be more careful before selling infant-sized garments? We thank God we found this stone before it resulted in any serious accident. And that letter is from Marilyn Mitten.
Okay, now this is a pretty small stone, as you can see.
Just about right for an 8-month-old to chomp on.
Yeah, or to swallow. But as you mentioned, he had actually worn them a couple times.
Yeah.
Isn't it possible that it could have gotten into the trousers some other way?
Well, it is, but oftentimes stone-washed jeans, well, stone-washed jeans are washed with a stone, and
Makes sense.
it's likely that's where the stone came from. And I spoke to the gentleman involved with Bimini in the Maritimes, and he was quite concerned about this. And in fact, he says this is a very rare occurrence for them. They take great pains, especially with the infant clothes, to make sure this kind of thing doesn't happen by sewing the pockets on all of the infant clothes shut, on the stone-washed clothes.
Right.
So we're not quite sure what happened with this particular instance, because I spoke to Marilyn today just to confirm, and the pockets on these jeans were not sewn shut. Now, I haven't had an opportunity to pass that on to the Bimini people, but it is a rare occurrence. They're aware of it, and it's something that they take great pains to try to prevent.
They're reacting to it.
Yeah, well, they did before the fact, because they say this shouldn't have happened in the first place.
All right, great. You also have an update from a mailbag item last week?
It revolved around a thermos that a gentleman had purchased. It had a 5-year complete warranty. He sent it back, never got his replacement thermos, wrote a letter, never heard back. Well, I'd called the company, which was York Thermal Vac of Canada, and we finally managed to track down what had happened. And this is the first time I've ever heard of this, quite humorous. The gentleman's address was RR number 6 Truro. They live on the old Tatamagouche Road. His name is Randy McBurney. Well, a new thermos was sent out to him in June, but it was sent to Randy Tatamagouche. So obviously it came back no such person. But his new thermos is now in the mail. He should, in fact, get it this week.
All right. Who knows? There could be a Randy Tatamagouche out there in the Maritimes. Anyway, if you have a problem you think Yvonne may be able to help you with, here's how to contact her.
You can give us a call. The area code is 902, the number 493-3404. You can leave a brief message on the machine, or you can write Post Office Box 1653, Halifax, Nova Scotia, B3J2Z4.
And remember, ATV's Yvonne Colbert is on your side. Thanks, Yvonne.
You're welcome.
Here's Paul.
And when we come back, just what the doctor ordered to get you ready for another work week. The plays of the weekend coming soon to a TV set near you. In fact, the one you're sitting in front of right now. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Now, for people who think nothing but chocolate will do, presenting Chocolate Lovers Blizzard Treats from Dairy Queen. Rich rocky road with boulders of fudge, almonds and marshmallows, gooey mud pie oozing with chocolate, Oreo cookies and coffee, and chocolate chip cookie dough crammed with chunks of chocolate and dough. Just $1.99 at Dairy Queen now.
Sure beats the chocolate mousse.
Yummy! We treat you right.
The biggest news in Canada is all over Asia. Air Canada already flies to Korea, and now we fly to Japan 4 times weekly. Air Canada, for all the world to more of Asia.
When back pain strikes, ordinary pain relievers often aren't enough. Look to Robaxacet. It combines 2 active ingredients. One to relieve your back pain, the other to relax your tense back muscles. Ask your pharmacist for Robaxacet, helping you walk away from back pain.
Open up
No, he's not getting ready for the Tour de France. The Toronto Maple Leafs, led by Doug Gilmour, with training camp now underway, as are a number of other NHL camps throughout North America. One note of interest, remember Gary Lehman played with Montreal for a while last year? He was, at one time, supposed to be a franchise player for the Leafs. He's turned up in the Vancouver Canucks training camp. Should be interesting to see what happens there. All right, time now for our regular Monday feature, the Plays of the Weekend, starting with a special new Plays of the Weekend rule.
Why don't you let the idiots just yell whenever they want, okay? Let's make a rule and say every idiot with a low IQ can yell whenever they want.
Okay, idiots, feel free to scream, hoot, and holler. Maybe that'll wake Sleeping Beauty. Maybe she wants to remain sleeping, because the prince in this story is none other than that silly John McEnroe. Doing his best impersonation of John McEnroe now, give you Jesse Hester of the L.A. Rams, getting the ball to easy touchdown range and using his head to do it. Making it look easy, rookie Marshall Faulk of the Indianapolis Colts, 3 touchdowns, 174 yards rushing yesterday, and Dave Meggett, the main man for the Giants, ran 26 yards for a touchdown, recovered a fumble to set up another, and then this beauty, 68-yard punt return. You like that little move he had there to get away from the man? Catch of the weekend, Ray Crittenden of the New England Patriots from Drew Bledsoe. Too bad Dan Marino was so spectacular. Pats might have won this game. Non-catch of the weekend, minor league ball. Now, you be the umpire. This guy make the catch in right field. Did he make the catch? Did he make the catch? Umpire thought so. He called the batter out. Team manager, he disagreed. Who was right? Well, the replay tells it all, folks. This ball was not caught. Call that one that got away. And on that note, check out this swing by Ricky Thompson. What happened there, Ricky? Yeah, all kinds of hazards in and around the golf course, as you're about to see. I don't know what happened to Ricky Thompson's hand. I don't know what happened to this guy. Now let's introduce some speed into our hazard theme. What goes up sometimes comes down in a rather hard way. And in the stretch of the Vancouver Indy, Nigel Mansell and Emerson Fittipaldi gave up 4th on this crash. Scott Goodyear would sneak in to take the spot. And then there's go-kart, a wild crash down in the States, folks. Fortunately, neither driver seriously injured here. But I ask you, aren't these guys just a little old to be driving those teeny-weeny go-karts? Bizarre stuff. More collisions for you coming right up. Of the human variety, college ball, Oklahoma versus Syracuse. Now that's a block. And in the NFL, the Houston Oilers smashed by the Colts. Cody Carlson gets double team cream. Speaking of getting stung, this guy didn't mind the 100 he got because he's a man on a mission. Covered with 13,000 bees for 3 hours. Should get him into the Guinness Book of Records. And I don't know if you'll be able to harvest honey from him or not. I don't know. Rick Walsh knows what he'd do if he was covered with bees. He'd do a little bee dance. And William the Refrigerator Perry says, I ate 13,000 bees before I came to the game today. Can't you tell? And seriously, fellas, is rollerblade hockey any more difficult than ice hockey? Is it? Oh, yeah, just when it comes to carrying the trophy. I don't know, for some reason, that sucker causes all kinds of problems. Congratulations to the Buffalo Stampede winners of Roller Hockey International. We'll leave you one parting shot. Check this out, right there. Oh, Billy Matassi, you gotta like it. We got more plays in 4 days.
Not bad.
Pretty nifty, eh?
I don't know about the guy with the bees, though.
My favorite was the rollerblade hockey, man. Those guys were falling all over themselves.
It's hard to tell the difference, actually, when you first see rollerblade hockey. It looks like ice hockey.
Especially in some of the rinks that they had this year. They've got a perfectly white surface. You know, some of the surfaces have a grid. Perfectly well. I was looking at one day. I said, who's playing hockey right now? It's rollerblade.
Hey, I like it. Live at 5 heads into the home stretch in just a moment with Steve Weagle's Wake Up Weather.
But first, an age-old controversy in the battle of the sexes.
Why don't guys put the seat down?
They're probably thinking of other things.
I don't know why you guys make such a big deal about the seat all the time.
A modern solution to an ancient problem when Live at 5 continues. The sweet sounds of the Rankin family helping out on a Kim Mitchell classic during the annual Kumbaya Festival, broadcast live on Much Music last night. Proceeds from the festival go to AIDS hospices and service organizations right across the country.
Sounding good, as always. Well, we're happy to tell you now on a totally different subject about clever new toilet technology that may just help settle a commode controversy. Jeannie Mose tells us more tonight about the latest development in the battle of the bathroom.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. That's if you can find one with the seat down. Why don't guys put the seat down?
You're probably thinking of other things.
I don't know why you guys make such a big deal about the seat all the time.
So that when we go in the middle of the night, we don't fall into a cold bowl.
Tracy Sofrin is an expert. She's the manager at Cantor's showroom, where a state-of-the-art toilet is aimed at ending the state of war between the sexes.
It's called the Peacekeeper.
This is what the Peacekeeper doesn't have, a handle for flushing. The way you flush the Peacekeeper is to put the lid down. Take the plunge. Try a Peacekeeper. A magnetic sensor in the tank flushes the toilet when the magnet in the lid is moved away. It runs on batteries, but you might have to leave instructions on your Peacekeeper. Even a plumber working on one couldn't figure out how to flush it. Are you getting warm? Oh, you're getting real warm. How long have you been a plumber? The Peacekeeper is manufactured by Kohler, whose product manager says...
So we thought we'd try to put an end to that problem and side with the ladies.
But the piece may be hard to keep when couples hear the price. Add $100 to Kohler's $350 to $850 toilets. Once women figure out how to flush the Peacekeeper...
You didn't hear?
No. They seem genuinely delighted.
I think that's a dirty pool.
Why?
I don't know. It just doesn't seem fair. That's about our only sense of independence that we have left, is leaving the seat up.
Besides, men say of women...
But they got their revenge because they put up the fuzzy toilet seats.
And men could still disarm the Peacekeeper by putting the seat down to flush and then putting it back up.
That would be foul play.
Well, we're flush with rain in the Maritimes today. Here's Steve Weigel with our wake-up weather. Steve?
That's right, Paul. It's coming down. It'll come down all night. And tomorrow, the rain should taper off to showers. So if you're planning any trips tonight, like if you're headed out to the airport, check before to see if there's any airport delays. Here's the latest satellite photo. A lot of rain across the Maritimes. It'll continue to push up through in the next 24 hours. Wake-up weather looks like this. Rainy weather, 11 to 13 degrees for wake-up temperatures. And then by tomorrow afternoon, the rain will taper to showers, 15 and 16 degrees for New Brunswick, 16 for Prince Edward Island, and 17s right across Nova Scotia. We're looking at 20 to 40 millimeters rain in total out of this system before it heads out later on Wednesday. Guys.
All right, thank you, Steve. Here's what's happening on ATV Primetime tonight at 6:30. It's Full House, followed by Murphy Brown at 7. At 7:30, Melrose Place. We've got Rescue 911 for you at 8:30. And then Murph is back at 9:30. And our 10 o'clock movie tonight, Champagne Charlie, Part 2.
Now on the Tuesday edition of Live at 5, from conflict resolution to gangs, date rape to suicide. Chances are your teenager will come face to face with one or more of these issues, so prepare now. It's a special edition of Live at 5 that every teenager and every parent should see. It's tomorrow, Live at 5.
Hope you'll join us for that, and hope you had a terrific long weekend. Back to work tomorrow. We will be here, of course, at 5 o'clock sharp. Hope to see you then.
The news continues now with Steve Murphy. Steve.
All right, thank you, Nancy. Tonight, Union Blues, Hard Times, Rain on Labor's Parade.
The only way that we'll know what the future is for unions is if we keep putting up a fight.
Heavy weather. Late summer storm puts a damper on the holiday.
This is unreal, I tell you. Kind of neat, though.
And down for the count, a facelift for the Tower of Power.
It's a sad moment. There were a few side tunes in the program today.
Now, from the #1 news team in Atlantic Canada, the ATV Evening News.
Good evening from the ATV News Center. I'm Steve Murphy. It is the 100th anniversary of Labor Day, a day off for most.